Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of SAP Security. In this session, we will be discussing about master role and derived roles. Master role and derived roles, or we can call this as, for example, master role as reference role, as well as we can call this as template roles. Yeah. The idea behind this master role and derived role that you create one role called master role or template role, then you roll it out to different derived role with the same authorization objects but with the different organization levels. Means each master role will be linked to the derived role, or we can say that each derived role is linked to one master role. So whatever the authorization object which will be present in the master role will be also available in the derived role. The difference from master role and derived role, that in the derived role we will be using organization levels. That means the specific organization levels for that particular derived role. So organization levels from one derived role to another derived role which is linked to the master role will differ. However, the authorization object or the concept will remain the same. That is the advantage of master role and derived role. Meaning, if we have an authorization objects, a collection of authorization objects which we have developed for a specific function or a position, which will have quite a lot of objects, this will remain same for each derived role. The difference is only the organization levels. Meaning the organization level in our example we said 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000 with the different company codes. This will have different organization levels. For example, this organization level company code 2,000 will have a different sales org, will have a different purchase organization, and it will have a different cost center as well as profit centers. Like this, you can have different organization levels for each derived role. The advantage is, as I said, that once you define the master role, then you can roll it out the same concept with the same authorization objects to a different company codes or different organization levels. Maybe you are using only one company code, but you may have multiple sales organization or multiple purchase organization or multiple plans, for example, or multiple cost centers, which you wanted to use the same roles with the same authorization objects but at different org levels. Org level means all the organization levels, which basically the company code and profit center and cost center, which is based on our business process, what we customize in our SAP system. It does not mean that we can copy and we can create a individual roles with a different organization level. We can also do that. That will be independent role which will have different organization level. We will also see that in our system, that when we are creating the roles, first we will create with as an independent role, then we will create as a master role or derived role. Independent role also have its own advantage. The advantage is that independent role, if you wanted to have different authorization level, if you wanted to change authorization objects a little bit from one business unit or one organization or one company to a different company, then you can individually do this. But the problem is that it will not be consistent. Let's say if it is a very small organization, you have a quite few, less than 100 users, but it may not be quite feasible. If you see a cost benefit of this authorization concept, it may not be quite feasible if you have a master role and derived role concept and design this concept. Then it may be feasible for you to create an independent role, maybe a copy which is created from this master role and assign this organization level independently. Yeah, that also possible. That case also we can have one role as a reference role, and we can copy this reference role to new roles, and we can assign the organization level. So it's also possible. Yeah, that also has lot of advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage in that case is that you need to create these roles quite number of times. The time consumption is quite higher in that case. But if you have a quite a lot of different organization levels, then the master role and derived role will reduce the time consumption in the initial setup, as well as it will be very easy for your maintenance in the future. So but designing the concept itself it will take time, that we can consider is one of the disadvantage. But if you change anything directly in the derived role, which will have an inconsistency in the master role and derived role concept. But in the individual roles, when you create with the different organization levels, then it will have like it has an advantage. If you wanted to have a small changes between the organization level, you can change it in the same role itself, and maybe you can document it properly, then it will not be a big issue. But that may not be possible, but technically it is still possible in the master role derived role concept. But if you do that kind of changes, that will create a inconsistency in this master role derived role. In that case, that if you want a different organization wants a different concept, whether you need to create a new role or you need to create a role which will have only the differences or only the addition which you would like to include. But if it is a removal again, then you need to create a new role. So that's little bit of positives and negatives. If you know both of the concept, then you will be the best judge to come to a conclusion which will be the best approach for your implementation. Let's look into our system, then you will understand the whole concept behind this derived role and master role concepts. To make our exercise quite easy, I already created the data which we may require. So we have two different set of organization levels. First one is for the sales organization 000, and the second one is for the sales organization 1020 and 1030. This one is in Frankfurt, this one is in Berlin and Hamburg. Both of them belong to same company code 1000, which is in Germany, Frankfurt. It has a warehouse number is same, as well as the division also same. They are doing the same kind of business, for let's assume. But the sales organization is different. So this company have same code 1000 sales organization, which is also in Germany, Frankfurt, but it has to another sales organization 1020, which is in Germany, Berlin. Another one is in sales organization which is in Germany, Hamburg. Then the distribution channel in Frankfurt, what they are doing is final customer sale for the end customer, and in Berlin and Hamburg, what they are doing is they are doing resale. But they have different plant. They also have a plant in both these locations. The first one is Berlin, which is CHP3 is a plant number, and here they have only in Hamburg, which has a plant 0005. So this is our organization levels. How do we get these inputs? This you will get it from your consultant, for example, maybe the project team, or maybe the customer. Customer will be the best judge to tell you what kind of authorization required for this particular plant or particular location. You can also use change management, for example. They will have an entire overview of the whole company, then they can guide you with the organization levels. or in general how does it works is the key users will be the one who will give this input. Then there will be a project management team coming from the user side or the customer side. They can check these inputs whether it is correct or not. Then from that you can give it to the consultant, then the consultant can use these inputs. For this exercise what I will be doing is I will be using an SAP standard role, so that we also know how does the SAP standard role is looking like, and we can foresee that what we can use it from the SAP standard role. So what I took is I took a small role called SD information display, and we will be using this role for our training purpose. So let's see in our system. So this is our role. The first one what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a independent role for these organization levels. Let's go to PFCG. Let's go to our SAP role. This is created for display, customer and material information, which has a menu, display, customer and material information, and these are the transaction code which we will be using in this role. Let's check the authorization tab. This is created by SAP. So we will not be doing any changes and we will not be using this SAP role. As you know, it is not recommended to use the SAP role as it is. So we will copy this one to our namespace. In the first case, let's assume that this is our template role, so we do not need to create a additional template role. So we will be copying it from this role itself. So let's create it for the first organization level. Make it like this, then say here. So to copy that, to copy a role, we simply click this button, then you will have a pop-up like this. In this pop-up you have two options. We have copy all and copy selectively. If you select copy selectively, then you can select some like users you want to copy or don't want to copy. Like this you will get a selection screen. There you can select all the options. In our case we are just copying from SAP standard, so we copy everything, authorization, menu, whatever it is available. So in the role which we are copying is we already defined, this is in our namespace, and we say info, then 1000 is our organization levels name. 1000 I took it from the sales organization. So we are differentiating the derived role by the sales organization. Okay, then I will say copy all. Okay, right now what we did, we copied the entire role to a new role, new single role. Let's go to the change mode and see we have the menu which is copied from the original role from SAP as it is. Then we have authorization. So far we did not create the profile. Then we go to change authorization data. Okay, now we can see we have only one green traffic light and we have yellow and red traffic lights. Let's go to the yellow traffic light first. Okay, we have something called authorization for classification. First thing is, as you said, as we discussed before, that we need to know each and every object. Why are we adding? That does not mean that you need to remember each and every object. you cannot remember each and every object. We just need to understand what this authorization object is doing in this context, in this particular role. That's what we need to know. We don't need to remember each and every object. We will remember some object, in fact, like some critical objects. What we can do with that, we will come to that topic later. That is the one we will remember in practical sense, that once you are started using the system and started developing, you will automatically keep remembering these authorization objects. So in my case right now, how I am going to come to a conclusion. First thing is, I don't know what is this authorization object is going to do. We have quite number of authorization object. Let me take this one. So I wanted to know what is this guy is going to do. I'll select this one and say press F1. This should give me some SAP help. This says this classification authorization maintained in, this is the object. This controls the authorization of users to maintain a class. So they can create the class, display the class, or delete the class. Okay, so here what this authorization object can do, if we are using authorization group in your document, then we can use this field. When you are creating any document in your functional, that you can create an authorization group, and we can assign this authorization group to a specific document type, or we can use this for a specific document type. So you can control your authorization by this document type. Let's say if the controls, or if the authorization which we have already in the business transaction, if it is not enough, then we can use this additional authorization object. This is again, if the functional use this authorization group, then we will be using it. So this input will come to you from functional team, that they are using authorization group, then we need to restrict this particular authorization group for this set of people. For this set of people, this should be assigned. So in our case, let's make it quite simple. In our case, we are talking about a display authorization. Yeah, so how will I come to a conclusion that it's again a display authorization? And secondly, when I will go back and see this organization levels, if this is coming anything from this organization level, classification of authorization group is nothing to do with our organization level. So I will consider this is not very critical, and on top of it we are assigning 03. So I will say fine. I will check with my functional consultant whether are we using any authorization group in our documents. They say no, then I will put star. Same like this, I will put star everywhere. So if, let's say, if I don't know this one, I can also click this and say F1. Then it gives you the definition of only that particular field. Yeah, this says determine whether a user is allowed to assign authorization object to this class. So then this class, anyway we don't use it, simply we say star. On top of it we are just talking about activity 03, so it's not so critical. Then I will say star everywhere, and we made it green. The next one is fine, only one, we have one yellow, then we have put star here. And condition, again maintain condition for authorization, for application and table. I'll put it star, anyway it's display. Then the document management, here also I'll put star because we are again talking about only display. on the red, if you see, then we have everywhere defined as dollar values, all the organization values. That means we still need to define this one. First let's finish all the non-org issues, then we'll come to that one later. Authorization group is fine. This is green, this is red. Let me make it faster. Here activity seems to be an issue, so I don't want to put star there. I want only 03, so it's fine. So we got a typical very good example here. See, we got activity which is blank, which was coming from one of the transaction code from the menu. That means in SU24 the requirement which is defined in SU24, this activity was blank. That's the reason we got it blank. So simply don't click star and we need to check. That means it was a definition issue which was coming from SU24. So SAP definition in SU24 also not so perfect. This authorization, again, it is very well defined, but the SAP defined it so nicely how to use each and every authorization object in very detail, but they do not restrict you or how to use it. That using it based on our imagination and our business needs. So we have to check each and every objects. So in our case it's fine. Now we finished all the yellow traffic lights. Let's go to our red traffic lights. Red traffic lights is basically coming from the organization level. So in our case we simply add these organization levels and say company code is 1000, warehouse was star, then the division, there was a couple of divisions, zero 01 0 0 0 0 1 0 2 0 4 0 6 0 0 1 0 2 0 4 and 0 6. Okay, we have 1 2 3 4 5 different values. Now here you have from and to. This you can use it wherever it's possible. For example, in our case we have 0 0 0 1 and 0 2. This come in a sequence. So if I say 0 0 to 0 2 here, then I can take out this one, I can take out this one. Yeah, so that means 0 0 0 1 0 2, it's all valid. So wherever it is possible, please use the from to option, because this will reduce or this will shrink the objects which you are using in your profile. That means the profile size is going to reduce. The number of characters, which is, this profile is based on the number of characters which you may be using in your authorization objects. So reduce as much as possible. Don't build up so many authorization objects inside. This is not going to help you. Then our sales organization, our first org set is 1 0 0 0 0 0, and distribution channel was 10. The plant CHP3, CHP. Okay, then I save this. As soon as I save this, then we got all the organization level sets what we have defined here got filled in our respective variables wherever it was defined, then all became green. Okay, okay, now I will save this, then it will create a profile and generate. Okay, now we created a role which is for the sales organization 1,000,000. Now let's go back and create the next one. So next one, maybe we can copy from here to the next one, maybe quite easy. Yeah, say copy all, then change. We have the same menu, authorization object, go to the change authorization data. So we almost got everything. Yeah, we don't want to have the yellow traffic light again, so we copy it from there. So what we can do is we only need to change this organization levels. Here is again company code 1,000,000, warehouse is star, then the division is same like before, 01, 02, 00, 01, 02, and 04 and 06. The sales org we have 1020 and 1030. What I will do is 1020 and 1030. We can also use this 1030 here, provided that you do not have a sales organization which is configured in between this. Okay, let's say you don't have a sales organization called 1021 and 1022, 1023 up to 1029. If you do not have a sales organization, then we can put it like this. But the problem is that if you create in between a sales organization which has the number in between these two, then this user is going to get authorization for this sales organization. So if you are not sure, then let's make it like this. See, if it is in a sequential number, then we can use the from and to. If otherwise also we can use a from and to, provided there is no organization in between that. Some cases what we will do in a bigger implementation, each of these numbers also well defined. So if I wanted to create a sales organization, additional sales organization in this organization sets, let's say for example, let me make it more clear. In Berlin, I wanted to have multiple sales organization. Then in my definition of sales organization, it's say 102 0 to 29 will be Berlin, and 1030 to 39 will be Hamburg. In that case, the next sales organization which is going to come into Berlin will be 1021. Then we can put 10 star. During the time of your authorization development, you say 102 star, then it's for all Berlin. Then like this is again depends on how the customizing or the organization definition is defined. So in our case, we will put it like 1020, 1030. Why I am highlighting all these things? It's all practically very helpful when you are defining an authorization concept in a very big implementation. So you need to go and understand what is defined in an overall SAP implementation. You need to understand the overall SAP implementation, then you can define a well defined authorization concept. Then go to distribution channel 1, 2 and 2, and this is 005. Okay, so this becomes so easy because we already cleared all the yellow traffic lights. Now let's create the profile and generate the profile. Okay, now we finished our first concept. Let's go to the next one, master role and derived role. The first one, what we did, we just simply copied a role for two different organization levels, then we filled in our organization level what we want. So this is very independent. So let's say if I want to add additional role only in this organization, only in this derived role which is created for this organization, not a derived role as a single role which we created for this organization, we can simply add it here, which will not affect here. That is the advantage, and we have a couple of other advantages. We will come to that again. Next, let's say how to create a master role and derived role. Let's see our second scenario, master role and derived role. For our second scenario, first what we have to do is we have to create a master role. For master role, we have a specific naming convention, that is at security, that's our namespace yellow sd info m. When this is m, we identify this as a master role. xx means, this x means that it does not have any awk values, means the awk value is blank. And for the derived roles, we identify the derived role as d, then we know this is a derived role, awk value 1000, that for the sales awk 1000, and this is for the derived role for the sales awk 10xx, and it means 10 with leading with any other numeric values. So first let's create a master role. Okay, let's create now a system. Let's go to pfcg. Take our SAP standard role, and we will say again copy, put our master role name, copy selection. Let's try this option first. So in this option you get user assignment and personalization. Anyway, this does not have an user assignment. If you click also it's fine, it's same like copy all. Okay, now it is copied. Let's go to change option, have a look into the menu. This is fine. I would like to document this one. This is master role should not be assigned to user. Here also I will change the description, insert master. Okay, so once we see this master, that means we know this is a master role and we should not assign to any users. Even though if you assign, it does not going to make any sense. Let's go to change authorization data. Yes. Okay, we already seen how to identify this yellow traffic lights. Let me quickly make all green. Now this role green and red. Red means the organization levels are which is not assigned. Say for example here BUKRS, and we want this to be as variable as it is. We should not have any values. Let me make this star. Possibly we need to check all the red also. Maybe we will have some yellow here, same like here. If you keep it like this, then you will find in the derived role as yellow. Okay, let me keep one like this, then we will see what happens. Okay, and all the organization levels, values which are related to organization level should be red. Yeah, should be red and should have this variable. Okay, just for our testing purpose, I just left some yellow as it is. Let's assume I did not check it clearly, so I left it like this and say everything is fine. Now I create a master role, so I say save, then we will create the profile, then we generate this profile. Okay, generate. So when you generate this profile, you can see the open org level set exists. There are open authorization. So if you generate it like this, it's fine. If you go to maintenance and you can maintain, we simply say generate. It's fine. We know this. That means in the normal scenario that it gives you a message that this org levels values are not maintained. So this is our master role. So we created a master role. Now we need to create a derived role. How to create a derived role? To create the derived role, we already defined what is our derived role, right? You go to copy this derived role, go to create option. Yeah, this is our first derived role. We say single role which we are going to create. Then we have an option here, inheritance, transaction inheritance. That means it is inheriting this role from somewhere else. So derived from, so you can select by using this option. So I will put my master role here. This is my master role. And select this. Otherwise you can directly type in here and plus, and then it will also bring the master role. So let me put the master role here because I know already this is existing. Say OK. Say click enter. Then we get this pop-up message, importing role. Do you want to enter the specified role as the imparting role? That means as a inheritance role. Okay, the reason why this is giving you a message, because this is now linked each other. That's the reason it's giving you the message. Say yes. Want to save the role first? Yes. It's a standard message in PFCG. Now this is the role, this is the derived role, this is the master role. So we derived from the role. So this particular role is derived from here. So if you want to delete the inheritance, you can still delete it here, but in our case we don't delete it. Okay, let's leave it like this. So this is our derived role, this is our master. This derived role is derived from this master role. Let me go to menu. If you see, the menu also been copied from the master role. Then we go to authorization, change. Now we got all the objects which is coming from the master role. Here also the organization level is blank. So what we do now, we simply fill in these organization levels. our company code, first organization level is company code 000, warehouse star, the division again 00202, then 04 and 06. Sales organization 100, distribution channel which is 1010, and the plant is CHP3. Save. But we still have some couple of yellow marks here. It seems you did not copy it from there. So anyway, we put our organization levels. Okay, select, okay, save. We generated our profile. We can change this object's values here. So it's not a, it does not mean it's not allowed. It still allows, but we don't want to change it here because it is supposed to be from the master role. So I'll save this and go to generate. Okay, we need to put a description for this. Our description for our role was display customer and material master, I believe. Okay, mind, save. I'll go back to my master role. Change. Edit old status. Here everything seems to be fine. This one everything was green, that means this was not generated. So that was, sorry, here this everything is green, but the other side everything is yellow. Okay, let's leave it like that for time being. Let's create the next derived role. Once we finish, then we will fix the issues whatever we have done. The next derived role is like this. This is my master role. Say yes, yes again, text, copied the menu, authorization. Let's go to authorization tab, then I'll go to this option, create an export mode for profile generator. So you wanted to save, yes, then I come here. Then let me put the org structure here, 10000200005. okay, 0, warehouse is star, division is 00202, 04 and 06. Sales organization, we have two sales organization here, 1020 and 1030. Distribution channel is 12. The 005. Save. Okay. Here also it became all yellow. There is something which came up here. It's a different value which I don't know, so I'll just leave it like this. Now I save my derived role, which creates a profile, also generate. Still have a lot of values. So let's go back to my master role, and okay, this is my master role. Go to change. Here everything seems to be fine. For example, this change, classification, everything is green, but this value is not populated into the derived role. So whatever the change what you are doing in master role, if you want to transfer, or if you wanted to generate the derived role based on the inputs which is available in the master role, then we have an option to generate the derived role. For that, you go to authorization, adjust derived role, and generate derived role. Once you generate the derived role, it will give you a warning message or an information saying that you need to have these specific authorization objects. If you do not have these authorization objects, then you cannot do this activity. Okay, I'll say generate. Now it is generated. Show pfcg. Let me go to the derived roles, and let me take one of the derived role which we have created. Okay, go to authorization, display authorization. If you see, after I generate the derived role, this became green. All the values which was in the master role is populated here. The point which I am trying to make here, that if you are using this concept, that all the changes which you do should be done in the master role. We can also do the changes here, but it is recommended that you do all the changes in one central place, so that you don't create an inconsistency between these roles. So whatever you change the master role and generate the derived role which will push the changes to master role. Okay, now let's go a little further. We have still some yellow marks which we missed out. Yeah, we assumed it's missed out. Okay, still we need to fix this one. So let's fix it again. Let's go to our master role. So open it here. So we found the yellow which is coming from where? This is the one. Let's fix all the yellow issues here. Okay, so now it looks everything fine. Generate. Okay, I have all the authorization and generate. Okay, now it is generated. Now if I go to the derived role, authorization, go to the display, everything is fine, but still this 2 is left out. One activity missing, another one, something else is missing. I don't know whether it's coming from our master role. Let's check it again. or maybe a generation problem. Yep, it's coming from the here. 03. Actually we have two. You can simply delete one. Here also this is missing. Okay, so we say save, generate. Okay, now I generated. Now everything is green. If the derived role is perfect now. So as I said, that we can also change the values in derived roles. Yeah, for example, let me go here, let me do some changes. Okay, so any value which you input directly here, which will not be changed by the awk level set changes, which we know already, which we have seen in one of our previous session. The same like here, that if you do any changes here, that will have an impact. Say I add manual, one more, display change, save. This also give you an warning. Okay, now this warning is very reasonable. When adjusting the derived role, authorization value is overwritten. Yeah, so let me change the value. Now save and generate. Okay, this is our derived role. Let me go to my master role again, change, edit old status. I will go to the reason why I am going to the expert mode. If you go to expert mode, edit old status is not going to do any changes in this profile. Yeah, based on the menu, it will not make any adjustment, so it's very safe this way. So I will say generate, say okay, generate it. Let me, so now let's go to the derived role and check what happened to the object which we have added manually. Authorization, display data, fi. So we added something here which is 2000, which is again gone. This is overwritten by the master role. So anyway, since it is coming from the derived role, all the changes whatever you do in the master role will be overwritten. That was the warning message it gave here. Go to the change. Let me go back and read that one, then it's quite clear. When you adjust the derived role, the authorization value is overwritten. Okay, that means whenever you adjust the derived role with some value, it will be overwritten by the master role. So the best way in this master role derived role concept is that do not change anything in the derived role. Now you can understand what is the main difference between the individual role and the master role and derived role. Let's assume in your scenario, in your implementation, that you have maybe 3-4 company codes which has multiple plants, some 50-60 plants, then you need to create role for each plant. Then you need to duplicate this role in our first concept 50 times. In our second way of doing it, that we will do it only once, we will only change the derived roles. Now once we created, we went live, now the maintenance part comes. So I wanted to add an additional transaction code to the role which is called info display. In our first scenario that you will be doing 50 times, you have to go to each and every role, go to PFCG and change, you will add 50 times. Say for example here, you will go here and say go to PFCG, change that the transaction code which I want to add is SU53. Let's say support is a menu. Inside support I wanted to add SU53. Assign transaction, so in it's assigned, you go to authorization, change yes, have an additional value which is user group. I'll put star, save. Okay, so it added couple of other things which I say actually if you see in this authorization object, it added s underscore develop. This is actually not required for SU53. S underscore is purely for development. The activity 03 is to check the development object, a program or something. So in our SU53 we may not require it. So but still it's added. If you want to disable it, you can simply disable this. Okay. Session class. Okay, this is again coming from the menu. This also again coming from the menu, which is not related to SU53. Okay, anyway, never mind. So we have added this objects, say save and generate. So you have to do this 50 times, that if you have a 50 different plans. Now let's go to the second scenario. Let me go to my master role. I'll simply go to the master role and let's assume I have 50 derived roles for this. Go to the change mode. Go to authorization object. Sorry. I'll go to menu. Then add support. Add the transaction SU53. Go to authorization. I'll go to second option now. Say yes, I wanted to save. I will use this, read the old status and merge with new. Okay, I will leave everything blank. Save. Here I have couple of yellow marks. Say okay. This is for user master. That's fine. This which I do not want this. So this is again coming from the role option. I simply delete it. I don't want. Rest everything seems to be fine. There's something new here. Let's see what is this new. Okay, this got added. Okay, fine. Here is something new. This one is coming new. Okay, this rod volt. Okay, so I've told it everything. Added SU53. Once I done, everything is perfectly fine. I'll go to authorization, adjust derived role, and generate derived roles. Now if you can see the status bar, then you will find the messages. It's creating the derived role. That is quite useful to see the progress of the derived roles, because if you are generating the derived role for 100 200 roles in one time, then that is the only information you have to see whether it is running or not. Because if you go to the system, go to SM51 and see the work process, it will show it's running, but you are quite not sure in what stage. Then that will be the best way to find to what level the derived role is executed. Say okay, say generate, and you can see the derived role is getting generated. Derived role is got generated. Let me go to my derived role. Authorization, if I go to the menu, you can see the menu is got added. Authorization object, respectively everything got added. So we have a new authorization object called authorization group, which anyway we need to define. That we will define. Go to change mode. Okay, go to organization levels. Here we will define our new user group. Super. So what we need to do is we need to only assign the organization level in the derived roles, because since the transaction code which we added has a new organization level which is not defined in the derived roles. If let's say the organization levels which is used in the new transaction code, which is from one of these organization level or some couple of these organization levels, then we don't need to do this activity at all. Okay. So now you think how much time and efforts we have saved by using the master role and derived role concept. So the advantage in this master role and derived role concept, that you can have a standard authorization approach across different organization units or business units or different companies. Then it reduces lot of efforts. On top of it, you are very clear, you have a well defined authorization concept across the organization. That is the biggest advantage in the master role and derived role, and it will help you in the long run if you are having a very big organization, or if your organization a growing organization, that frequently you will be adding additional company codes or additional plans. Then this is the best way to do it, because you don't need to reinvent the whole authorization concept whenever you have a new company code or a new plan is getting added. Now let's see what is the advantage in our first concept. In our first concept, let's say I will go back to this role. Now this role we defined it for display purpose only. but let's assume I created this one for a job function for to do something. Okay, so then I'll go to this authorization data, then I have one FI document. Let's go to this authorization object. Let's say I have a role which is created for some purpose. Then I wanted to have display authorization for company code 1000, and I want to have change authorization for company code 2000, and I wanted to have create authorization for company code 3000. Then here it's quite easy. Say I go to manually add 2 times my object, and what I will do here, I will say here change for the company code 2000, create authorization for the company code 3000. Very simple. So this user have authorization for this specific object display only for company code 1000, 2000 and 3000. For 2000 he have change authorization, for 3000 he or she have create authorization. This is very easy in this concept to have diversified authorization object within this role. But if you go to the master role and derived role concept, you cannot do that, because the derived role brings your organization values from the organization levels, which is defined here. Here, even though we defined the company code 1000, you can also have additional company code which is defined in the role itself, which will not override this company code whenever you do any changes. For example, if I put here star and save, the company code here it is saved because it is coming from this organization level values that we can say okay, it's a global value, yeah, kind of global value. Then it's coming from here, since it has become star, and this is an explicit value which we have added, which does not have any impact. But in our master role and derived role concept, if I add an additional object, add a different company code, you have seen when I go back to the master role and generate it, that will be overwritten. All the objects will be overwritten. Same like the master role. So that's quite risky. So this concept is quite flexible. That meaning to say, if you have a very small user base and a small company organization, then it may be quite feasible to use this kind of authorization concept. Now you can think what we can do in case of that I have a requirement which is coming like this, same like this, which I wanted to implement in the master role and derived role concept. Here only option is that you create an additional role with these authorization objects and assign to this user, assign to the user whoever is required. We forgot to save. Let's save and generate our profile. Fine. Okay, now we have seen the two different type of roles. If you are creating a organization based role, independent role, and creating a organization level based role based on the concept of master role and derived role, and what is the advantages and disadvantages. Let's go back to our presentation. In the derived role menu, we seen the derived role menu is getting populated. However, the menu in the master role will be transferred to the derived role, but you cannot edit the menu in the derived role. You can change the object as we seen, but the object will be get overwritten. However, you cannot change any menu in the derived role. That means you have to change it only in the master role, then distribute it to the derived role. With this, we are coming to the end of this session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.